In the first video for the Briolove shawl, you watched me knit according to this chart. But if you repeat again and again the rows that I say at some point to repeat, there will be too many stitches because the rhythm of the increases is too high. That's why, to evenly space the increases, there is the second chart, and I will explain how to knit from the first and the second to get what I have here and what you saw in the beginning of the video. So if you start with the first video, and that's what you should do, I explained there how to knit these rows. I show you, and now just to get to the this end result, you will have to do the following. You will see this in the chart, in the first chart. You have to cast on 13 stitches from one stitch, just like I show you in the video. Then you work rows 1 to 44 from chart 1, so that means from the beginning to the last row in this chart, 44. After that, you work rows from 13 to 44. So you work once all of this, then you work from here to here. Then the next step is chart number 2. And in chart number 2, you start from row number 45 and you work until row number 76, and you repeat them again and again. So once you start knitting from chart number 2, you can repeat it again and again, and you can do the width or height or whatever of the shawl that you want, or you can just see how much yarn you have and then work that amount of repeats. In the description box I wrote what measurements I have from this shawl, and I did it from one skein of Malabrigo yarn, and the contrast color is a mohair yarn, so you can do that too if you want to. And from one skein of color A yarn I got a decent size of a shawlette maybe for someone, but still you can wrap it around your neck and everything. So let's see. In chart number 2, I have this space here because, as you can see here, I wrote 45 and then 13 because these rows from 45 to 60 are the same as rows number 13 to 28 from chart number 1. Look, these rows 13 to 28. So if you understood how to knit it from chart number 1, you can do it when you need it. You can use it instead of chart number 2, that is smaller and everything. But here, if you get the principle, maybe you can use it. If you don't, you can use this one. It seems, for me at least, that is clearer, but well, we'll see what you write in the comments and if it is the way I think it is. So as I said, this first part is the same as the rows 13 to 28 from chart number 1, so this part is also showed in the video. And then this part from row number 61 to row number 76 is partly shown in the video because, as you can see here, or maybe you can watch in your downloaded charts, that what I designate here as panel B is the same as you have here. And then panel C is just the middle of this part, because in the pattern B is this point, this part where we have an increase. That's where I put all the markers. I want to explain that also on the shawl. So this is point B, the B panel where we have the increase, and then the C is this point, this column of leaves or medallions or whatever you may call them, when we don't increase. So the point of this chart, the alternation of A, B, and A, C, we work the B panel only at some points of the shawl, I'll explain now, and then the C is mostly worked in the shawl. So the B panel is worked in these points where we have the marker. So we have, how is it the construction of the shawl? We have these this line of hearts on the sides, and we have the central line of hearts, and then we have some on diagonal. So the B point starts just on the sides of this central line of hearts and on one side of the sides hearts. So when you knit the shawl, you work from right to left. So you work the heart panel, that's the A. You can see it, it somehow resembles it a little bit. Not really a heart, but still, you can see here. So we have the A, the heart. After that, we have the marker. I recommend to place a marker here. And then you know that here you can start you have to start a B panel. Also I forgot to say that this half shows you the rows that you can use from the main chart, the first chart. And also after this part, this space, in row number 61, here are the crucial points where you have to decide, because the below part is the same. The B and the C is equal in this half of the chart. Only the upper part is different. So in row number 61, you decide if at this point you start above a B or a C. If you start at B, you make an increase here. So you brioche knit, yarn over brioche knit. And if you need to have a C above, you just brioche knit, no increases. Let me explain here on the shawl, maybe it will be even clearer. So, like I said, I placed markers. Let's say from the beginning, I start my shawl and I'm using chart number 1. So, I knit this part, like, I don't know how to show you. So I have this first heart, then I have this first medallion, this one, then again, like it says here that you have this frame, black frame, that says that you have to repeat this. So we do this once and then repeat again. So again, heart, medallion, and in the end, after all the repeats, you do the heart again. So as I said, we knit once these rows. When you finish row number 44, you are at some point here just above the these peaks of the hearts, because we have the decreases here. So we know this is like around the first ensemble. The first pair of decreases means the peaks of the first heart, the inner heart, and then the second pair is the outer heart. So when you finish row number 44, you just finished one heart. So you get to this point. After that, you start to repeat from row number 13 to row number 44. So you finish at the second round of hearts. We have this one. This is the first time you knit these rows, the chart number 1, and this is the second time. So when you repeat that, you are at this point. So when you start repeating it from row number 13, you knit heart, medallion, heart, medallion, repeat again and again, in the end, heart. So when you finish the second time knitting according to the chart number 1, you are at this point. So you already made the increases here in the B points, because in the chart we have this, the B panel. We have just the B panel, the C doesn't exist here. And here we have to, and when we continue knitting according to this chart, we are deciding the next time you get. So when you start knitting from row number 45 to row number 60 according to chart number 2, you just do it. You can use even the first chart because you are knitting the same thing. And when you get to row number 61, you have to use this one because you will be at this point. This is row number 61 when using, so here you are at row number number 29 the first time you knit according to chart number 1, and then you get again to row number 29 when you repeat this the second time like you should, and then the third time when you, after this point, you finished row number 44 from chart number 1, and you start from row number 45 to row number 60, and at this point it's row number 61 from chart number 2, and this, at this point in row number 61, you have to be careful where you have to increase and where you just brioche knit. So at these points where I have the markers, you increase, and see, as a result we have these 2 medallions or 2 leaves and 1 new heart. This is the increase. And where we don't increase, the C panel is just this leaves one above the other without increases. So you increase only on the sides after the heart and in the middle on the sides of the central heart line. So all the markers that I placed here are all row number 61 here in the chart, and this is exactly this point. So you have to repeat this 2 times, and then you have a heart in the end. But 2 times, that means that you still have this AC panel repeating inside of it. So we have A, B, then we have A, C, A, C, A, B, A. So here at B, the repeats stops, and then we get from the beginning, and we have A, B, A, C. I hope it's clear. C, it means this string of beads or medallions or leaves or whatever, where there aren't increases. B is here where we have the increase, and from 1 stitch we have 2 new leaves forming, and C is this one where we just have one above the other. So we have B in the middle, A in the middle, then we have the B, then we have A, C, again and again. When you get to the next rows, you'll have more repeats of the AC, but before the last heart on the side, you have the B point here, also the B panel. So after you have completed row number 61. It's easier to just follow the chart because you'll just have to the A panel is the same, so every heart you have in the chart you just knit it the same way, and here you'll just be careful to follow the instructions. If you have the increase here, you know that you have this bigger part of the B, and if you don't, if it's somewhere in the middle of the shawl, then it's this one that starts with a brioche knit and then continues, and just in the next rows you have some increases, but the rest, but still it's smaller because we have only these few stitches. There are how much? Seven stitches in total in the larger part. And here when we have the increase, we have, see, from here to here we have a lot more stitches. We have two like leaves and one heart in the middle, so it's a lot of stitches. So I don't know how clear I am. I hope that someone will understand what I did and will try to repeat it because I like it so much. But also I want to say that it's the highest degree of difficulty. So if you're a beginner, please don't start even, because as you can see here in the chart, just to explain how difficult it is, we have one type of increase, second type of increase, and 1, 2, 3, 4 types of decreases. So it's a lot. So if you're a beginner, please don't start. If you're an intermediate, if you want something really difficult, I don't know how many rows I frogged myself with this, because maybe I didn't do the increase, or I don't know. There's always something. So I was glad when I finished it myself, but I really, really like it. I really like this idea that I saw in a crochet pattern. So I hope I didn't scare you too much, and you will want to try to knit, not only try, this shawl. I hope you will like it. You will want to knit it. If you got to this point, just start knitting, and well, thank you for watching.